Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Joe Kuchera, provides you with insight and guidance on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate. He also offers real estate tax management strategies, new construction advice, home improvement tips, and much, much more. And now, to guide you around the world of real estate, here's your host and Real Estate Radio Live team leader, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome in. Good afternoon. Joe Cachero with Real Estate Radio Live as we kick off, we're almost the final week. I guess we are kind of the final week, are we? December. Just about ready to get into 2018. Hard to believe, and a lot coming, a lot of excitement, a lot of different stuff to offer for you, the consumer, in 2018. And one of our guests that I'm going to introduce in just a minute is an example of some opportunities that are going to be available for you in 2018 in real estate investing. Before we get started, just a few reminders. We're with you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. We are the only live real estate radio show that broadcasts 5 days a week in the entire Bay Area, and very excited about that fact. You can listen to us a couple different ways. One is on the radio, KDOW 1220 AM. You could also listen to us live online if you go to kdow.biz. Press the button that says Listen Live, and you can listen to us no matter where you are at this time period, anywhere, live online. And we're streaming live on Facebook, as we do every single day, so thank you for those Facebook, the audience there that continues to follow. Ask some great questions. We had a couple of people that had some great questions, I think it was last Thursday or Friday, and we continue to get more and more of those each day. So thank you for those that are following us on Facebook and keeping track of us in that manner. Lastly, be sure to download the podcast, because that's the way you could follow the show if you don't have the ability to listen at this time period. You could do that at iTunes. Just type in Real Estate Radio Live, or you could go to our website, reradiolive.com. All right, during the live show, we have a couple different ways you could communicate. You could ask questions to me or my guests, 1-800-516-1220, or you could always text 408-838-9060. All right, most of you, we've had Charlie on. Charlie Castro is with Buy Right Properties, and he's been on several times, but here's the exciting news. Starting January 8th, Charlie will be with us every single Monday. We are going to be focusing on Investment Monday. So the show every single day will be brought to you by demand, really. The consumers have told us over the years that we are very interested in investing in real estate, number one. Number two, however, we don't see the opportunities here in the Bay Area, so who could help us invest in real estate outside of California? And we have that guy. So Mr. Charlie Castro is on the line with us today. Charlie, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Joe. How are you?
Good. Good to have you here, and we look forward to you coming on with us. I think it's January 8th will be the kickoff, and every Monday we will focus Investment Monday, and the entire focus each hour will be educating and informing people how they could lock in some investments outside of California. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me as well, Joe. Thanks for having me back.
You're welcome. Before we get started, Charlie, why don't you give listeners a little bit about your background and then what you're up to today, kind of the current roles and responsibilities.
Okay. So I got into the real estate business, actually, it wasn't until 2009, late 2009. Actually, I was helping a friend of mine that was buying real estate, rehabbing the properties, and then reselling them to investors. And I got involved simply by doing webinars. I was doing webinars for like AccuPlan and Entrust and, folks that had people's 401k money looking to invest in real estate. So I started doing this series of educational webinars. We did about 500 of those over about a 4 or 5 year period. And I mean, it's just that sort of morphed into a business. I got to know all the people at the hedge funds, from Blackstone to Havenbrook, Buy Property Direct, some of the larger buyers and resellers of investment property in the country, and that just sort of led into a business I really didn't intend to form. We founded Buy Right Properties about a year ago with just the notion of introducing buyers to sellers. So now we market for most of the bank auction houses like Auction.com, Hudson Marshall, and then we market for most all the private REO resellers out there as well. So my responsibility is really all the above, finding inventory to sell and finding buyers to buy it. So that's kind of what we do.
That's great. Well, we're going to continue to connect consumers. Again, I get a lot of questions, comments, ask about investing. Where should I invest? Who could I trust? Where's the great markets? All those types of things. So the good news here for you, ladies and gentlemen, is now Real Estate Radio Live has a partnership in terms of Charlie Castro that really answers all those questions. And what I mean by that is, are you looking to invest? Okay, well, do you need some education information? Who's going to help you do that? What areas, what properties? And we could bring that through you through Charlie Castro. Charlie, tell us a little bit about, it can be confusing, obviously, to most consumers. You go online and you type in investment real estate, or on television or different radio shows and so on and so forth. There's a lot of different programs. There's programs that will sell you newsletters. There's programs that'll sell you programs. You could you could do webinars and pay for those. You could do seminars and pay for those. Tell us a little bit about the difference and what separates you guys, Buy Right Properties, from most others.
Yeah, we don't do any of that stuff. We're not looking to sell anybody anything. We're looking to introduce someone to a partner that they can buy a property from, an investment property from. And it's really just all about identifying somebody's criteria, what's their goals. Are they looking for just a big yield? Are they looking to invest in a certain market? We don't do any of that stuff whereby we're buying something and then putting our name on it and then reselling it at a seminar or a webinar. Generally, the difference between what we do and what you see out there with those groups is those groups are buying inventory and then they're reselling it at a profit, and typically a fairly big profit, to an investor who just doesn't have the knowledge to know that they may be, dramatically overpaying for something. So the fundamental difference is just that we don't sell anything per se. We don't buy inventory and then resell it at a markup or a big profit. We do get paid a fee, obviously, but it's just really more of a direct sale between a buyer and a seller.
Got it. So you guys have usually, in many cases, first crack at the inventory. So you'll get inventory brought to you by the banks, the hedge funds, those groups that might say, hey, Charlie, I have 13 properties in North Carolina or Detroit or whatever, and then you are either have lists of potential buyers that might be interested or people that sign up with you to kind of keep a track on. Give us an idea of, if you again could remind us, let's say a person wants to know more information, but maybe they're waiting for a certain area. How does that work?
Okay, so there's really two sides of it. We are actively marketing for most of the REO vendors that are out there. So whether, let's say it's an auction.com, we get a list from every. As far as the buyers, but that's exactly what we do. When we talk to somebody that's a new buyer looking to invest, the first thing that we do is we identify their criteria. They then go into a database that we collect this data. And then when we get inventory in that market, we just send it to them. They don't have to call us up every week and say, hey, I need a new list of available property. We just automatically send that to them on a weekly basis.
I see. All right. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. I'm on the line with Charlie Castro. He's with Buy Right Properties. We're talking about investing in real estate specifically outside of California for cash flow. If you have any questions for Charlie, 1-800-516-1220. That's 1-800-516-1220. So how does it work if someone then wants to buy one or two or three multiple properties? Do you guys kind of walk us through, if you will, exactly kind of logistics, Charlie, how that works?
Okay, so it depends on the vendor. First off, a protocol is different with every seller, but the general way is they get a list of properties. They're able to view the list. It'll give them all the data, what the rental amounts are, what the taxes, insurance, and property management fees are, what the net ROI is, and then the buyer can view that inventory. And when they see something that they like, we simply make the introduction to the seller, and we just let them get together and compare notes. Obviously, you want to do an inspection on the property and all those sorts of things, and we walk people through all that stuff. We don't just kick them to the curb once we give them a list. We help walk them through all that. But the primary protocol, the basic protocol, is always pretty much the same. It's just look at the list, analyze the numbers, pick the market that's right for you, do your desktop due diligence, maybe make a trip out to the property or the properties, view the properties from the inside, and then make their decisions based upon what they see.
Okay. Does we've got a little less than 2 minutes before the first commercial break. Do you are you seeing a certain amount of properties come specifically from kind of focused areas right now, or are there times, Charlie, when you'll get inventory or properties that kind of surprise you, or is it kind of across the board, or are there certain areas they come from? How's that work?
Well, the biggest thing, Joe, is that the one thing we're seeing more than anything is decreased amount of inventory. That's the thing that we're noticing the most. The banks get the most inventory, and the lists that we get are nationwide. So they're in, all 50 states. And the private inventory is primarily in the Rust Belt. You don't get a lot on the coast, except for maybe Florida and the Carolinas type of thing. But the most dramatic thing we're seeing right now is inventory shrink. But we still see inventory all over the country, on a weekly basis. So there's still plenty of stock. You just have to know where to look for it at.
Okay, great. Well, before we take our first break, the difference between bank-owned and foreclosures, private REO vendor, I mean, I think you've explained a little bit about, but what is the difference there?
Between bank stock and private REO stock? First of all, it's price. All the bank stuff we get is for our foreclosed homes. So there can be anywhere from $50,000 to $1 million. Where the private REO stock, you'll very rarely see a private REO over $100,000. So the primary difference is going to be price point. The secondary difference would be just quantity. There's a lot more bank stock because obviously it's foreclosed nationwide. You get a lot of it, anywhere from 3,000 to 10,000 properties every week you see that are new. So there's more of that.
Got it. All right. What we're going to do is take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking to Charlie Castro with Buy Right Properties. Do you have any questions? Would you like to buy investment property outside of California? There's some great cash flow properties. 1-800-516-1220, 1-800-516-1220. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. I'll be back with you to continue the live show in just a couple of minutes. Stay with us on Facebook.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
The world is changing, and so is real estate. It's changing in ways that give consumers more control with more affordable options. So what are your options? Hi, this is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. I've been on the air educating and informing consumers for over 7 years now. I'm excited to announce that there is now a more efficient and cost-effective way to buy and sell real estate. Our team at Real Estate Radio Live is launching a new program designed to help buyers or sellers like you in real estate, lending, and title. That's right, we'll coordinate the entire transaction for you. So you benefit by working with the same team, saving time and saving money. We'll guarantee you'll not only be working with the most qualified, hand-picked experts in real estate, lending, and title, but you will also save a significant amount of money in all three services as well. Act now and benefit from changing the world of real estate. Call 408-838-9060. Go to RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live with you 5 days a week. Today, our guest on the line, Charlie Castro with Buy Right Properties. For those that are on Facebook, you can see our monitor in studio here that has Charlie's information. For more information, you could contact the number right there on the screen if you're watching us via Facebook. But if you're not, Charlie, before we dive back in, what's the best way to reach you if someone's interested in talking to you more about these properties?
Okay, you can either contact our office, which is at 888-968-5288, or just info@buyrightproperties.net. You can send us an email, info@buyrightproperties.net, and we'll respond back to you pretty quickly.
Very good. We got a text here during the break, Charlie. Question one of the callers wants to know how does Buy Right Property make money? How does that work for you?
We get paid a fee. Generally, if it's a private REO group, a private REO vendor, we have agreements with them to pay us a fee, so they pay us a fee.
I see.
If it's a bank property, we get paid by the buyer because banks don't pay fees. So we build a fee into our presentation with the buyer. So the buyer will be very well aware with it. The fees aren't, I'm not even saying what they are. They're 2% for a property under $100,000, and they're $2,000 under $100,000 and 2% over $100,000. The fees are very, very nominal.
Wow. Yeah, those are very good, too, from a reliable source. So let's talk a little bit about cash flow properties because And you know, maybe you could take a minute or so, Charlie, just to educate. I always like to, when I have my guests on, to just assume that the majority of the audience, you know, that we're teaching them and trying to keep it as simple as possible, just to not to assume that everybody understands kind of cash flow and how that works. So if you don't mind maybe explaining kind of generically, when someone says, hey, you know, Charlie, I'm looking for a cash flow property, and should I buy something here in Silicon Valley, or is there some inventory that you have for me? Maybe just walk us through that so the people that may not understand that.
Okay, so a couple things. First of all, you'll find very few cash flowing properties off market that would be in the Bay Area. That would be very, very different. I don't think I've ever seen one actually.
I would agree.
Yeah, but let's say, for example, let's just take a property in, let's say, Dayton, Ohio. It's a $40,000 property, a 3-bedroom, 1-bath. It's renting for $750 a month. You have to pay the insurance every month. You have to pay the property manager and, of course, the taxes. And typically, by the way, the property manager does that for you. So you get a net check, $750 a month. You net like $600 a month off that on a $40,000 property. You're looking at something like a 17 or 18% cap rate. That's just a generic description of what one would look like. Now, obviously, if you don't like the Ohio market, maybe you look in Michigan, or you look in Texas, or you look in Georgia. Has always been a really good market for rentals, and so is Florida. Places like Jacksonville, Miami-Dade. Generally, you can find rental portfolios there. So it just depends on the property. You're always looking for at least a 10% yield. I don't think if you're going to invest in real estate, you shouldn't be looking at anything less than a 10% yield. And, you know, then it just depends on what market you're comfortable in buying in. If you did find something in California, Joe, you'd be looking at a 4 or 5 cap.
Yeah, no, I would agree. It doesn't exist unless you're fortunate enough to know someone. And, you know, and the problem is everybody knows by now what kind of market this is. So, you know, number one, it's not like, you know, is there any desperation and someone's going to have to feel like they have to give a deal. Just to give a good illustration, so even the banks that have foreclosed property, and I'm talking about thousands of foreclosed properties on their books, in places like the Bay Area, they're not going to discount those. They're going to keep those right at market value. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. So then the other part of it, the example you just gave us, Charlie, was someone paying cash, I'm assuming, right, for the property?
Yeah, I mean, there's some folks out there that use some financing tools, and those are available out there. You can do that. But most often, yeah, you're talking to somebody that's looking to buy, and whether it be a passive investor or whether it be, which is what we work with most of the time, which is wholesalers, and these cash buyers. They go in, they buy stuff, and they either run with the rental portfolio or they do a flip. They hold it for 6 months or a year and they flip it.
So the other thing that comes up, and so this would be a great situation, Charlie, and I hear this all the time too. Someone that has a investment property over here in the Bay Area, for instance, or that for anywhere for that matter. And maybe they're a little concerned, you know, we've had quite a run up the last 4 or 5 years, and now maybe someone's looking at the property going, gee, you know, I could net $500,000 out of this thing, but I'm going to have to 1031. So they could, for instance, sell that here, take that $500,000 and buy a bunch of properties with you know, all over the place, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the model you see with a lot of investors that are just looking for just income, cash flow. That's exactly what you see them do. They'll liquidate assets in one market to be able to go into another market, and instead of getting a 4 or 5 cap, they can turn that into a 15 or 20 cap. That's the most basic model that most investors follow. Is that exact model? And then of course you have the flippers, which is a whole other thing. But for someone looking for cash flow, yeah, you want to deploy that money where you're going to get the greatest rate of return. Absolutely.
So that brings up a good point. So let's say someone are flippers, or they've got experience there, and that's the goal. I guess this would be another opportunity for them too, if they wanted to buy them, and then somehow either themselves or if they have a network of someone that could fix them up and put them back on the market. I guess that just, if they know the numbers, that's another opportunity.
Yeah, and that's the bulk of our client base. That wholesaler that's out there in a certain market. Yeah, the wholesaler that's out there in St. Louis listening right now, or is in Kansas City, or they're in you know, in Kentucky or Iowa, and they're looking for inventory to do flips. They want to go in, do the work themselves, either keep it as a rental and experience the cash flow, or, you know, just take it and do a flip. You know, buy it for $10,000-$15,000, put $10,000, $15,000 into it, and sell it for $50,000. I mean, that's the most popular model you see, and in particular outside of California. That is the model that most people are following today.
Got it. All right. And so Tell us a little bit about speaking of markets, so in your opinion right now, as you get inventory and someone's kind of looking and keeping their eye open, what markets, as we sit here today, closing out 2017, what markets would you recommend, or do you think there would be good markets to get into now?
Well, any market can be a good market if you
That's
have
true. That's a good point.
Any market can be a good market, but where are people running to? People always run to where the greatest yields are, and so where they run to right now, Detroit has been hot for a year and a half. So Detroit's probably the hottest market right now, although the inventory in Detroit's starting to run thin for the first time in quite a while. The Ohio market's always strong. The Illinois market's always strong. Atlanta, Georgia has always been a top 5 market going back to 2010, 11, 12. That just was a market that everyone sort of congregated to. All the funds had a big presence in Atlanta, Georgia. So Georgia's has always been a good market. And of course, Florida. Florida's a market that you still get good deals, still get good buys. You can still buy property well under market value. They have high yields, and it's a market that people generally recognize as being a market that's going to continue to improve. So it really just depends, but there's lots of good markets out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're going to take a break here in about a minute or so. When I come back, I want to ask you a little bit about 2018. What's the housing market look like? The Fed just raised the prime again recently. It didn't seem to hurt. As a matter of fact, the stock market's liking what's going on. I know that has a lot to do with the tax plan that's coming out. But and of course, in the situation that you talked about, a lot of people that transfer or buy these cash, they don't have to worry about the financing part of it. So this is also kind of a different approach, and this is another example of why people should look at these opportunities, Charlie. I mean, then if you're paying cash or transferring or selling a 1031 and acquiring these other properties, that's a good opportunity, and then you don't have to worry about borrowing.
Well, yeah, and I'd say 99% of the people that we deal with are cash buyers. So you're right. The interest rate thing really means nothing to our business.
Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take another break. We're going to come back. We're going to continue the conversation with Charlie Castro. He's with Buy Right Properties. Do you have any questions for Charlie? 1-800-516-1220, or you could text 408-838-9060. This is Joe Kuchera with the Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be back with you to continue the live portion in a couple minutes on the Facebook. Stay with us.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Hi, this is Joe Kuchera, host of Real Estate Radio Live and Bay Area Mortgage Planner. In addition to being your home financing expert, please remember you could always contact me for other trusted advisors such as realtors, financial planners, and CPAs. Please feel free to contact me at 408-838-9060. That's 408-838-9060, or email joe at RERadiolive.com, or visit my website at RERadiolive.com for more details.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We're with you 5 days a week. Matter of fact, I just figured out the other day, and I'm going to continue doing this. I have to remind myself, we are looking at 13 or 1,400 shows now. I'm going to start doing a countdown every day and reminding people how many shows over the last 7.5 years that it would be done. It's well over 1,000. It's 1,300 and something. So we'll continue to keep that up. The reason is the reminder of consistency, and for the listenership, I want to take just a second to thank all those that have followed us for years and continue to build the trust. And a lot of you forward and communicate, the podcast. I could tell you that at least, 4 or 5 times a week, I get calls or emails when someone will compliment the show and say, "Oh, I love it. I passed it on to my friends or family or coworkers." And so we appreciate that. I really do. For those on Facebook, for those listening on the radio, for those online listening to the podcast, thank you. I thank all of you for continuing to support the show and the wonderful compliments and feedback that you give us. And my objective is always the same, and that's the reason we have Charlie on, and that's the reason we have valued guests on, and that is I want to continue to inform and educate you, the consumer, so that when you make decisions in and around real estate, you do them and you become a more wise consumer. In other words, you're educated, you're informed. I always say, I don't expect you to be experts because you have your other business and jobs to do. So what we hope that we help you do is become more educated, and then you surround yourself with a team of people that you trust when you buy these properties, sell these properties, finance these properties, anything to do with real estate. So I want to continue doing that. All right, let me bring my guest back in, Charlie Castro. He's with Buy Right Properties. We're talking about investing in real estate. It's a real popular topic. There's a reason why there are all kinds of shows, TV shows that are very popular. Matter of fact, I think the most popular shows on TV are real estate related and cooking, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of interest in real estate. And so we're talking to Charlie Castro about investing in properties. He has the relationships with the banks, the hedge funds, the lenders who have access to a lot of properties and has inventory for people from time to time. Charlie, everything you have, is it off market, so to speak, not on the MLS for those that are kind of understand the real estate world? Kind of the way most things happen for those that are listening. Typically in a normal way, the real estate agent would get a listing, they would put it on the MLS, it would be listed, everybody will see it. Tell us a little bit about how these are different, Charlie, that the properties that you have.
Yeah, that's a great question too, Joe, 'cause I was thinking about that. A lot of folks, like myself, before I got into this in late 2009, that was the assumption. When a house was for sale, somebody put it on the MLS and a realtor took you out to it, you looked around, and that's, but that's not how this industry works at all. There is a whole community of people out there, off-market resellers who buy this stuff, the courthouse steps, they buy out a probate. There's dozens of ways that they acquire this stuff. Of course, from 2008 until 2014, 15, a lot of this inventory that was acquired by these private REO vendors was purchased in bulk from the bank. So they were buying this stuff at, 30, 35 cents on the dollar in bulk, so they had all this inventory. And so to answer your question, no, 100% of this is off market. Nothing that we do is on the MLS. If it's on the MLS, we have nothing to do with it. Got it.
So off market, you get your hands on these and then make them available. Now, if someone goes to your website, Charlie, if you have some inventory, do they have access to that, or is that only if they sign up and are registered? How does it work in terms of them having ongoing information about the properties you have?
Okay, so what we do on our website is whenever we get new inventory in, I write a brief summary about what it is, and that goes on our website under the inventory tab. We never publish the list just in a mass sort of publication to the general public, simply out of respect for the integrity of the sellers whose inventory this is. So we don't just put it on Facebook or stick it on our website. You have to contact us. We talk to you a little about what you're doing, find out what markets you're buying in. Then once we sort of narrow that down, we'll send that individual a narrowly defined list of inventory that fits that description, not just a long list of thousands of properties. So, yeah, so we don't do it. But the website will give you some general information about what's available, yes.
Oh, I see. So for instance, if someone at their website right now, just an example, there may indicate that there's 15 properties in Detroit, but there's not any specifics to it. If they're interested, they contact you for more details. Is that how that works?
Yeah, it'll usually say something like, 15 rentals in Detroit, asking price is $30,000, ROI is 22%. Contact us for details.
Got it. All right, so it has that type of information. Again, before, I want to make sure those that are following us on Facebook, you could take a look at the screen just to my left. Would be your right, of course, and you can see the monitor that has Charlie's information on there. If you want to contact him or his team, the number is right on the screen and the website. For those that are listening on the radio and online, Charlie, again, if you give your phone number out and website.
Okay, the contact number is 888-968-5288, and the website's buyrightproperties.net. And if you want to email us, you can just email us at info@buyrightproperties.net.
Got it. Hey, you know what I was thinking, Charlie, and this was a question. Let me just see, and that's actually a good question. It's one of the things I was going to ask you, and here we go. Leave it to one of those smart listeners. They asked the question. It's Steve in Los Gatos. What if, this was a good one, what if someone is looking for a specific property, in a specific area, for instance? I think this is his question. What if, say, for instance, someone's looking for something in North Carolina, and that's just kind of whatever reason they want to buy a duplex in North Carolina, for instance. Is that something that someone can contact you and say, get on the list or find out if something comes up? How does that work?
That's exactly what we asked them, Joe. We asked them specifically what they're looking for. What I don't want to do is I don't want to send Steve in North Carolina a list of properties in Kentucky. I want to send Steve duplexes that fit his profile in North Carolina. And it may not be tomorrow. It may not be till next week or next month or next year. But once I know what he's looking for, that goes into our database, and we have something that fits that, then Steve gets that particular property in his inbox.
Got it. And, here's the great part about the Internet and education and information and people navigating themselves. I mean, years past, Charlie, this would be so nerve-wracking for people, right, to think about, oh, my God, are you kidding me, Joe? I've never even been to Detroit. I don't even know where this property is. But the beautiful part about technology, share with the listeners, if you will, and most of them already know that, there is such good information now out there at people's fingertips that they know all the stuff, where they're at, the neighborhoods, the schools, all that, don't they?
You can do that from your desktop. I mean, you can literally get a property, run desktop due diligence on it, find out the crime rate, the schools in the area, what the comps were down the street. I mean, you can do that literally from your desktop. Now, does that mean you don't want to go there? No, you probably do. You want to know your market and know your property manager. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that when the funds were buying all this stock, Joe, there was just guys that would sit behind a desk all day long. That's all they did was desktop due diligence. They'd take a list, they'd cross-reference everything, and they'd send a guy out, of course, to drive them. But all that stuff started behind a computer.
Yeah, good point. What's the forecast for 2018? And what I mean more specifically, Charlie, how do you see 2018 in terms of inventory that might be available to you? Or is it too hard to guess? Do any of these groups give you any kind of indication of what that might look like over the next 10 to 12 months or so?
They actually do. All of our bank contact us either this month or early next to give us what they see happening in the coming year. So we do always have some sort of a sense of what's going to happen during the course of the year. We were told last year, for example, in January that there was going to be some uncertainty in the market, and so therefore we may see properties discounted, which we did. Bank properties, they've been discounting now for a good 10 months now, 9-10 months. So no, they will let us know that. From our perspective, I think, inventory is going to dwindle. Interest rates are going to have no effect on the investment market. There's still tons of foreign buyers piling into America to buy real estate in the United States. That's going to continue, I believe, to increase. But I think that overall the market's going to stay strong. The key is going to be finding the right markets and just continue to hunt for the best deals, because there will be fewer deals. There's no question about that. We have more renters in America now than we've had we've had in 30 years. I think it's something like that.
Wow, so, I know. It's remarkable.
The rental market is extremely strong.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a landlord, it's a great time to be a landlord.
Yeah, no, it really is. It is amazing, and I can't imagine that weakening, because you got so many people that are constantly coming in the market and they need a place to live. We have about a minute to go for our last break, Charlie. About a minute to go. What are you guys just handling residential, single family, condos, or give us kind of idea of how the inventory looks in terms of the type? Do you do commercial or just residential? Give us kind of an idea of that.
We have just sort of chosen to stay in our lane, which is single family residential, but we do duplexes, quads, triplexes. Okay. We do notes. We have a note division. We have a gal that actually runs our note division. So if you're looking to buy non-conforming notes or tax deeds, we do have some folks that can help with that. As far as commercial goes, we have access to commercial inventory through most of the bank contacts we have. We've chosen not to do that. However, that may change next year. We'll take a look at that one because we may start doing some more commercial.
Very good. All right, we're going to take our last break. We're going to come back. If you have any questions for Charlie, 1-800-516-1220. This is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. We'll be back with you to finish up in just a couple of minutes.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
The world is changing, and so is real estate. It's changing in ways that give consumers more control with more affordable options. So what are your options? Hi, this is Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. I've been on the air educating and informing consumers for over 7 years now. I'm excited to announce that there is now a more efficient and cost-effective way to buy and sell real estate. Our team at Real Estate Radio Live is launching a new program designed to help buyers or sellers like you in real estate, lending and title. That's right, we'll coordinate the entire transaction for you. So you benefit by working with the same team, saving time and saving money. We'll guarantee you'll not only be working with the most qualified, hand-picked experts in real estate, lending, and title, but you will also save a significant amount of money in all three services as well. Act now and benefit from changing the world of real estate. Call 408-838-9060. Go to RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Joe Kuchera.
Welcome back in. Thank you for joining us this afternoon as we wind down the show. Just a couple minutes left, finishing up with our guest on the line, Charlie Castro, by the way, which will be a regular feature on Real Estate Radio Live come January 8th. Stay tuned. Charlie and his team will be on Real Estate Radio Live every single Monday starting January 5th. We're going to be talking about investment real estate, where to get it, how to be connected, how to stay informed. One of the reasons I'm doing this is because there is such a demand in the feedback that we get on this show over the last several years on, what do you want to see, what kind of questions, what do you see in real estate, what are you interested in, and I could always tell you the top three on the list are always people interested in investing in real estate. So it's always an interest. So knowing that and hearing you, the consumer, we're going to continue bringing that to you, and that's the reason why Charlie will be on every single Monday, again, starting January 8th. Looking forward to it, Charlie. We're going to kick off 2018 and see how many people we could get connected to some of these properties.
Yeah, look forward to it, Joe. It's going to be exciting.
So what you talked before we took the last break a little bit about 2018. The forecast was, that's probably the inventory is probably going to get a little slimmer, quite possibly. But are there, overall, Charlie, are there always areas of the United States that no matter how much information we get, something could happen or change where, next thing you know, you have a little more. I mean, you could have more inventory than you thought just because there are some things that come up that are unexpected, I guess. I mean, you never know, right? That's the whole idea, is to stay connected.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, Joe. There's things that can happen that are unforeseen that could change the trajectory of the market. There's no question about that. But I think the other thing that your listeners may want to just consider is that when you live on the coast, you see the market doing what it's doing, and both where you're at and where I'm at, the market's overinflated. But for the bulk of the country, when you look at the middle part of the country, now there are some markets that have recovered back to where they were in 2008 and 9, but there's a lot of markets that haven't. And so there's still all kinds of pits where you're still buying at essentially the same prices today that you were buying at 6, 7, 8 years ago. So there's always good places to buy. You have to know where those places are. Being on the coast, you're a little bit spoiled because you're seeing your house go from being worth $500,000 to, $700,000, in a few years. So we have a kind of a distorted picture of the market. But you're right. Certainly things can change. The market can change at any time. But at the same time, there are still good markets out there to buy in, which is why you still have tons of foreign money pouring into these markets to invest in real estate.
Yeah. I always like to ask my guests, especially the experts, is what is your message to the person that's out there listening to the show right now, Charlie? The person that's listening to the show out there, and they're really interested, they're excited, they've planned for this, but they're just having a hard time kind of taking that first step, and they're nervous and anticipation and buying something in a different state. And I mean, those are all normal things, but so do you have any advice for them kind of to take the first one or two steps or what they might do?
Yeah, Joe, and that's exactly what we would tell somebody too. We wouldn't, when you're purchasing a piece of investment real estate, no one's going to put a gun to your head. You have to do what's right for you in the timing that's right for you to do it in. Yeah. My advice would be get started. I mean, determine what markets you'd like to look at. Contact us, get a couple lists. All we're going to do is send you a list. When you see something that you might like, then we talk about it. If we find something that may be a fit, then we go to the next step. But my suggestion is really just to get started and do your due diligence. It's not that difficult to do due diligence. And if that means you need to hire somebody to work with you to do it for you, then you do that. But it's not a complicated business. As you know, Joe, it's rent minus insurance taxes and property management fees. You buy in a good market, you buy a decent house that's got decent comps on it, so you're not overpaying for it. Know what the market will bear for what you're going to buy, and make a good investment decision. And maybe go slow if you're nervous and you're concerned about jumping in too fast. Just take your time. Nobody's going to rush it. Yeah,
good point. What are the kind of the average purchase prices, if you will, Charlie? Like, I know there could be homes as well. I don't want to speak for you. Give us an idea of we have about less than 2 minutes, the idea of kind of the low-end homes, maybe the average price, and then maybe the highest price that you guys kind of deal with.
Okay, so in the investment world, it would go something like this. The bulk of what we would sell as a rental, so a cash-flowing rental, would be in that Rust Belt area. It'd be in the $35,000 to $45,000 per door price range. Okay. When you start looking at properties over $100,000, the markets are Miami-Dade and then a couple of markets in Texas. Now, you don't get big caps. You may be at an 8, 9, 10 cap, but you can get a pretty decent $150,000 rental in Dallas that's going to give you a decent cap at a higher price point. But that average sort of price on a turnkey is in that $35,000, $40,000, $45,000 price range. We have one fund that we're working with right now, Joe, real quickly. They're buying anywhere from 20 to 35, 40 properties a month from us. We just closed 29 in Detroit. He paid $34,500. He ended up with about a 22 cap. He bought a couple packages in Akron, Ohio, and some in Dayton, Ohio. And he also is buying in Indianapolis, Indiana. Same exact model, has to be at least a 20 cap. All those prices come in right around $35,000.
Wow. Those are good reasons, and that's good reasons as we duck out today. Again, if you're interested or you're just thinking, you know what, I think I'm ready, give Charlie a call because, again, like he said, no pressure. Give him a call. Pick his brain. He's the guy. Of course, he'll be on a regular basis, but in between now and then, check in with him. And real quick, before we duck out, give us your number and website again, Charlie.
All right. The phone number is 888-968-5288, and our website is buyrightproperties.net. And you can email us also at info@buyrightproperties.net.
Right. Hey, Charlie, good having you on the show. We'll be back with you in a couple of weeks, bud.
As always, Joe, take care. Merry Christmas.
All right, take care. Joe Kuchera with Real Estate Radio Live. Thanks for checking in today. Have a great afternoon. We'll be back with you tomorrow. Take care.
Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.